It is Thursday, February 13th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by Dreamfinders Homes. And now, a guy who's so excited to be back, he's hosted every show this week, J.P. Shadrick.
You think you've had enough of me? Just wait. There's more. It's Happy Hour. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Busy hour ahead. Our first radio program after the hiatus of the offseason, after the 2024 campaign. And plenty to get to today. The coordinators all spoke today with the media. We'll hear some of the highlights of that coming up. GM interviews are underway. And we're closing in 2 weeks away from the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. Jaguars Happy Hour is presented by Dreamfinders Homes, official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're on 1010XL, Jaguars.com, and Jaguars YouTube. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Good afternoon.
Hey, JP.
How the hell are you?
I'm doing good. Had a nice break. Little disappointing that the last week that we had off, we got to watch a Super Bowl that wasn't that entertaining. Little disappointment there.
Well, if you're an Eagles fan, you love it.
Yeah, but I'm not an Eagles fan.
I mean,
I'm a football fan, and I was hoping for a good game and didn't get it. Got a whooping.
The Chiefs looked dead in the game.
It goes back to the philosophy of it starts up front. And Kansas City was very fortunate to be able to have Joe Thuney kind of get them to where they were, kind of limping along at that left tackle spot. And then the dam kind of broke a little bit against the Philadelphia Eagles, and they've got a lot of really good players up front on both sides of the ball. And if it was ever apparent that you need to build a good football team from the front going back, I think that would be the perfect example of that.
Yeah, both lines of scrimmage, in fact.
Well, I mean, the Eagles arguably have the most talented offensive and defensive lines in football.
Clearly.
I think defensive line-wise, the defensive tackle position for the Eagles is just super powerful. The edges aren't as good, but the interior is absolutely dominant. I mean, dominant. And the offensive line, I mean, what can you say about them? I mean, that with Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts, who is a threat to run the ball. I mean, kind of a perfect combination there of just kind of like what you saw in Baltimore, teaming up a great running back with a mobile quarterback and Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry.
Now, they're not going anywhere anytime soon, certainly. There's a lot of these stories now out after the Super Bowl. Oh, the Chiefs are done, and they're not going to be back, and Andy should retire. I'm like, they're still the Chiefs. They still have – there's a reason they've been to all these Super Bowls. It's not like they're just going to magically stop winning.
He's still the greatest quarterback in the National Football League, and Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. And look, when you have the greatest quarterback in the league, you're going to have a chance to win. And they've got some work to do in Kansas City to get back to where they need to be with that offensive front that they've got, and defensively they've lost some talent. Chris Jones is starting to get a little bit older. Do they have a guy that can be the next guy inside for the Kansas City Chiefs? They don't. I mean, just like this team, the Jaguars don't have a dominant inside presence. Can Eric Armstead be that? He's kind of long in tooth. He didn't really play inside this past year. Can he move inside and be productive from that standpoint? We'll see. But, I mean, having dominant interior players is what you want to have to combine with really good edge players. This team here in Jacksonville has got two good edge players. Where's the help inside?
Got to find it somewhere. We'll get to the coordinators who spoke today, including Anthony Campanelli, the defensive coordinator who talked about such things today, and we'll hear from him coming up shortly. Last we spoke, you and I, on the air of any kind was the day of the Liam Cohen press conference, the introductory press conference. There's been a lot that's happened since that day around here as well. Of course, Liam Cohen's in. The complete coaching staff is in. Tony Boselli is in.
Right.
I mean, and they're working on the GM right now.
Yeah, and interviews are going on, and obviously it's very important that they get the right fit. From a couple standpoints, one, you want to have somebody that's going to work well with everybody that's already in place, which is the most important thing to start with. But then the reality is that the lifeblood of any franchise is the talent that's coming in. And you've got to have the guy that can pick the horses. I'm not trying to be demeaning by saying players are horses, but you've got to be able to bring in great athletes and great football players because that's what you have to win. And I think Howie Roseman might be the general manager of the National Football League right now. Year in and year out, he's been able to add talent to the roster in Philadelphia. Many people consider them the most talented roster in all of football. And you've got to have somebody that's going to come in here that can give you starter in round 1, really good player as well, starter in round 2, starter in round 3, contributor in round 4, and then, it becomes kind of a mix, even though it's still a mix percentage-wise in the early rounds. But when's the last time that this organization has been able to get starter in rounds 1, 2, and 3? Yeah. It hasn't happened. And look, you look at some of the great historic teams in the National Football League, and typically what coincides with that is great historic drafts.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? He goes, all he has to do is go to Athens. Like most of the guys on defense came from Georgia for the Eagles.
Well, it wouldn't hurt, right?
Why not? Right?
Well, look, the great college programs that's where the hotbed is at. That's where the talent is at. So if you want to get good football players, go where some of the best college football is played. It's not just Georgia.
No, I'm with
Ohio
you,
State,
yes,
but you're right along, say, Georgia, Ohio State, LSU, Penn State, some of these teams that are competing year in and year out. Obviously, they've got good football players. Alabama, are they still there, by the way? Was Nick Saban gone?
They're not. They're out. They're out of it.
Oh. But that's going to be important for this organization to get the right fit and to get somebody that can do a great job of managing the roster, of bringing talent and building talent for the coaching staff and building talent around the roster that you already have.
And then having Baselli in place as the executive vice president of football operations, that means pretty much everything except the personnel and the coaching. Anything football related outside of that is under Baselli's umbrella.
Well, and I think he'll have a little bit of input in some of that stuff,
sure.
I would think.
Yeah.
When you have a working relationship, and Tony knows football, and I've said this before, I'm excited about Tony's presence and the job that he's going to do, and I'm excited for him. I'm excited for the organization. I'm excited for me because I think he's going to have an impact. Because not to go back down that road, but this organization made a big mistake when they hired Urban Meyer. And the dynamic of the organization changed dramatically when Urban Meyer was hired. There became this abyss that existed between the business side of the Jaguars and the football side, a divide. And football was kind of given their own, I guess you could say, put it this way, they didn't work together. And in a market like Jacksonville, you have to have everybody working together. The business side of things, the football side of things, everybody's got to be rowing in the same direction. And that era of Urban Meyer created separation. And I think Tony will help bridge that gap to get everybody working together again. And I think that's important. Because if you're not working together, then you're not being the most efficient organization that you possibly can be. And so I'm excited for what's ahead. I'm excited for Tony. I'm excited for the organization. And I think the fan base should be excited as well because I think he'll do a great job.
The Jags have hired a new head coach. The 2025 opponents are set, and season group and suite ticket deposits are now available. Be the first in line. Select your seats for next season. Place your deposits today at jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. We're on 1010XL, Jaguars.com, and Jaguars YouTube. The Jaguars coordinators all spoke with the media today, all three of them. Let's start on offense with Grant Udinski, the offensive coordinator, 29 years of age, coaching a quarterback in Trevor Lawrence that's not far away from his age.
The physical talent, you can see, and you guys probably have had more time watching it than even me over the course of the past couple of years. the most exciting thing for me is the guy and the person as I've started to form this relationship, because like I said, the quarterback position is still played by a person. It's still a human being back there who's got to stand back there and navigate tight pockets and hits and escape and deal with 10 other guys in the huddle, all 11 on defense, and make those decisions and snap judgment. So the person that we're getting to deal with and work with on a day-to-day basis is super exciting for me, because, listen, if we're up here spending as much time as we do trying to pour ourselves into somebody, he's the type of guy that you want to invest time in.
That's Udinski, who spoke with the media today. The full press conference is at Jaguars.com and Jaguars YouTube. You can tell pretty quickly in the press conference today why he has risen so quickly up the ranks of the NFL.
Well, many people consider him a bright young star, and young is right. How old is he? 29? I mean, incredibly young, fast rising, and this is one of those coaches that if everything goes as planned, you're probably not going to have him for very long. And look, that's okay. That means you're having success.
Right. If
all of a sudden you're losing coaches. But what he was able to do in Minnesota with Sam Darnold, I think, is tremendous. I mean, holy cow, Sam Darnold had a career year. And I think Udinski had a big part in that. And what is Sam Darnold going to make money-wise this year now? I mean, he's probably going to get an opportunity to be a legit starting quarterback.
Somebody will give him money
in this league. And I think prior to last year, many people viewed him as a journeyman backup, as a guy that, you might do a good job in a pinch, but you didn't expect him to be the starting quarterback for the whole rest of the season. And he did a great job. And so, kudos to Udinski, and glad to have him here. And glad to have – look, the more great minds that you can have on offense, the better off you're going to be. And so I don't care if they're 29, 39, 49, 59, 69. Hell, Tom Moore, what is he, 80? Give me all the bright minds that you can get.
Yeah.
You need to get – and here's the most important thing. When Shad Khan introduced Liam Cohen as the head coach, he talked about how it was imperative that the whole Trevor Lawrence thing was in alignment with the views of the new head coach. And Udinski's got to be a big part of that. He's offensive coordinator. He's going to be working closely with Trevor, as well as you've got a quarterbacks coach that's going to be there as well. I mean, everybody's got to be working in the same direction and getting this offense to be as productive as it possibly can be. And getting the best and brightest coaching staff is obviously imperative. But then now you need to start adding the players to that. That's where we're at with this whole GM search. So it's a puzzle, and the puzzle all fits together.
Of course, Udinski will be involved in designing the offense. Liam Cohen will call the plays. He announced that during his press
by
conference.
the way, why was it such a big deal and a mystery last year as to who was calling
it was
plays?
Like the last 2 years, it was such a huge
I remember having a conversation with Doug Peterson, and I was like, I said, I don't understand the mystery. I don't. I mean, if you just answer the question, people will stop asking, and it won't be a big deal anymore. And for whatever reason, he chose to keep it this big secret. I didn't get it.
I don't know. It almost felt like he had fun, listening to it, which was strange.
But I mean,
it was a distraction, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It creates a conversation that doesn't need to exist. And what you're saying, distraction, falls into that category. If it's a conversation that doesn't need to exist. And then the other part of that, I mean, are you not giving any love or credit to your offensive coordinator, Press Taylor, that's actually calling the plays? How does that make him feel when you don't want to answer the question? Or what, are you scared to tell people that Press is calling the plays?
I don't know. By the way, first thing
you
that
can tell
happened,
I might have a little bit of a beef with that.
First thing that happened, Ben Johnson gets hired in Chicago, hires Press Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Look, I like
Press will be fine.
I like Press. Good luck to him. I wish him nothing but the best.
You know how this goes. You know how this league goes. He'll at some point become a coordinator again, and probably if they have success, he'll have a chance to interview and be a head coach in the league. That's just how it's going to go.
That's how the league works.
That's how it goes.
Success leads to opportunities. Plain and simple.
We're back in a moment. We'll get to defense. Anthony Campanelli, defensive coordinator, speaking today as well. We'll hear from Heath Farwell in a little bit, the special teams coordinator kept on the staff, and more on the GM interviews and a possible timetable for completion of those. We're on 1010XL, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube, and this is Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Dreamfinders Homes.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Floridians, do you know how close you are to freshness? It's not a plane or a ship ride away. It's not across an ocean or over the equator. It's not even a far drive. The peak of freshness is at your grocery store, and it's called Fresh from Florida. Fresh from Florida is local produce grown by farmers right here in our own state, meaning it's always fresh, always in season, and always mouth-wateringly good. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo or ask for it by name where you shop.
For 48 straight years, Ford F-Series have been the best-selling trucks in America. We got here by engineering breakthrough technology, redefining Built Ford Tough, and never settling for second best. But what's really made Ford F-Series the #1 selling trucks in America is you. Ford F-Series, Built Ford Tough. Based on 1977 to 2024 calendar year total sales.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Sudeth is on the 20, the 10. Yes, another successful move to a new home. I tell you, folks, I've never seen a team more prepared than the Sudeth crew. With a dominating lead in training, trust, and efficiency, it's no wonder why Sudeth is the official moving company of the Jacksonville Jaguars. For the past 100 years, Sudeth has provided local, long-distance, and international moving services in Jags. While the Jags are moving the chains on game day, Sudeth is helping you on moving day. Visit Sudeth.com/Jags for a guaranteed quote.
Jacksonville builders score big with DL Cabinetry. As the official cabinet supplier of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they offer top-quality kitchen and bathroom cabinetry for any project. Enjoy fast turnaround, complimentary design, and great prices. Visit dlcabinetry.com today to learn more and to become a dealer. Limited spots available. DL Cabinetry, the winning choice for builders.
My vision for us defensively, we want to be a tough, fast, physical, violent at the point of attack team. What does that mean? That means that you got guys who take pride in not getting blocked. Everybody talks about running to the ball. I don't think there's another person in the world who believes in running to the ball more than I do. But you can't run to the ball if you don't get all the blocks. And that is something that's going to be celebrated in our room. It's going to be celebrated in the culture of our team. You know, there's going to be there's a point in every play where somebody tries to block you, right? Your passion to not stay blocked is really what makes plays on defense.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, and Jags football is presented by Fresh from Florida. It's always in season. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. That was Anthony Campanelli, the Jaguars defensive coordinator, speaking with the media today. And coordinator day. We heard from Udinski earlier, the OC. We'll hear from Farwell coming up, the special teams coordinator. But, boy, the defensive side of the ball. There's plenty to discuss here on this side with the way things finished up statistically last year. The staff is blown out. And here we are with Campanelli coming in and a different kind of attitude. You heard some of it there. And a passion for not getting blocked or not staying blocked, at least. Getting off blocks and running to the ball and Be aggressive. Let's go.
Coming off of what was arguably the worst defensive performance in franchise history.
It's top two.
No
if
doubt.
It's not number one. It's
No
right
doubt.
there with that 2020 season, I guess.
2020,
Yeah.
And here's the reality. The 2020 season that you're referring to, the defense was completely void of talent. This defense from last year was not void of talent.
Right.
One of the worst coaching jobs that I've ever seen from a defensive coordinator staff. Not good. Wasn't good at all. And, and unfortunately it was a poor decision there. And, and that's one of the reasons why you had to kind of make a big change there. And I like Campanelli. I mean, everything that I've seen on him, he seems to have a great mindset. It's defense is not complicated. It's running, it's hit, it's tackling, it's effort. And I've been on some defenses to where effort makes up for a lot of talent shortcomings. And when you watch the Green Bay Packers play defense, extremely disciplined, extremely well coached, did not leave any holes. And I think that's the key, is that you've got to give yourself the best chance to possibly succeed by being in the right position. And last year, that was like the anti-definition of what the Jaguars were. Mental mistakes, blown coverages, explosive plays.
All the time.
It was downright terrible.
It was brutal.
It was hard to watch. And I think Campanelli will help bring a disciplined, aware approach to this defense, and it's much needed.
You've seen his any of the videos from his earlier stops when he was in front of the team from time to time. There's one in Miami.
A little salty.
That's fantastic.
Salty language, yeah.
Yes.
I did see that.
So he'll grab some attention in the room.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
It's fine. And then, the reality is I think the best coaches, number one, give the players the tools to be better, because all players want to be coached. It's not like players think they've got it all figured out. If you can show a player that you can help them be better, then that coach immediately has respect. Because if a player gets better, it helps everything down the line for the player. It helps his contract situation. He gets to get more money, more fame, et cetera, on down the line. And so if you can find a coach that's a great motivator that's going to help the players and be better, then look, take care of them. And last year, I don't know what the heck that was last year. It was disappointing, though.
Campanelli's a linebacker by trade when he was a player, went to Rutgers. And then that means he's always has hands-on linebackers as a coach as well. When he was up and coming, he's been a linebackers coach. He's the coordinator now. But that also, to me, it's like, what's going to happen with Devin Lloyd? How can he get the best out of that type of player? There's been such a mystery around what he's doing at times.
Well, and I think that's going to be probably one of the first things that they will look at is, because last year Foye Oluokun was changed out of the position that he had been excelling at for years.
He was coming off the field. Remember, they were rotating guys in. Like, what in the world?
I don't know what that was
going
about.
On?
And Devin, I think he's got a great skill set, and he's got an amazing talent for making plays, but he's just got to clean up, the mental things. I mean, that's the part that's got to get better. And that was kind of the calling card of Green Bay. And so if you're going to play, I think, in a Campanelli defense, you've got to be able to be assignment clean. And that's got to get cleaned up. And there are some questions, and obviously a lot of that's going to be dictated on what you do in the offseason to add to that as well. But, I always like it when linebackers coaches get to the point where they become coordinators, because some position groups don't float up front and back end. So in other words, like defensive back coaches, it's about coverage, and then they work their way forward. And then with defensive line coaches, it kind of starts up front and then it works its way back. With linebackers, it starts both ways, because they're coaching linebackers that have to be schemed because of what's happening up front and then also what's happening back end on the back end. A lot of times a secondary coach doesn't care what a defensive front is doing, as long as they work with the linebackers, but a lot of times they're not working with what's going on up front. So I think the combination of experience as a linebacker coach, and then also it wasn't like he was just a position coach. He was, I think, a run game coordinator in Green Bay. So there's also a little bit more responsibility entailed with that.
Be interesting to see how this defense improves and what it looks like, what it feels like, what it shows on tape.
Let's get rid of the whole hockey shifts thing, okay? I mean, everybody's going to play, and come on. There's a reason why, JP, that some guys in football make a lot of money, and there's a reason why some guys don't.
We don't have a depth chart yet. There is
always
a depth chart.
Come
on, man.
It's a fact.
You break.
Yeah, that I never really got that whole thing.
Let's take one of our better players and not have him on the field and see if that gets us better.
Foye Oluokun, played what was that game? It was in New Orleans, and he played like 90 snaps. Okay, never had a snap to where he looked like he was tired.
No, he never came off the field in like his whole career.
Literally has some of the best wind that I've ever seen of a football player. Stamina's incredible.
Yeah.
We're going to take him out for 15, 20 snaps a game just because we want to rotate guys? Last time I checked, he's your best linebacker and best Mike linebacker too, by the way. Let's change him to Will. We're going to reinvent the wheel.
Man. So
what are we doing?
Well, not doing that anymore.
I don't know. Hopefully we'll get all that fixed.
He's a fun conversation to have. So we had an interview I guess that was earlier in the week on Jaguars.com, Campanelli. Just some ideas of how he operates and how he goes about it. And we talked about red sauce places in town, big Italian food fan, and the whole thing.
Well,
so
yeah, he's a Jersey guy, right?
He is,
yeah,
certainly.
Jersey guy through and through. I mean,
tell that pretty
growing
quick.
up to Rutgers, and
their family is a massive high school coaching family in Jersey. They've been through it forever.
Well,
his dad,
he needs to go to Ensis.
See, you're already putting commercials out there for him.
Well, I'm just saying. It's
pass
really
them on.
good Italian.
Let's come back in a moment. Special teams. One of the holdovers from last year's staff. And for good reason.
Two holdovers.
Indeed.
And for good reason.
We'll hear from Heath Farwell, the special teams coordinator, when we come back. 1010XL, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. This is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dream Finders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dream Finders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dream Finders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamFindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game. The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Floridians, do you know how close you are to freshness? It's not a plane or a ship ride away. It's not across an ocean or over the equator. It's not even a far drive. The peak of freshness is at your grocery store, and it's called Fresh from Florida. Fresh from Florida is local produce grown by farmers right here in our own state, meaning it's always fresh, always in season, and always mouth-wateringly good. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo or ask for it by name where you shop.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
It's game time, Jaguars fans, and Publix knows that football is all about pairings. a high-scoring offense paired with a stingy defense, a rocket-armed QB paired with a dynamic wide receiver. And at Publix, you can pair hot deli chicken tenders with savory dips, delicious sub platters with ice-cold beverages, and you can pair these tailgate essentials with an entire parking lot full of Jaguars fans chanting, Duval! Gear up for your tailgate at Publix, the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Want to make sure he gets to the game on time?
Tommy, your uniform is ready. Let's go!
Install a natural gas dryer, and you're guaranteed faster drying times and softer laundry. And now you can earn a valuable cash rebate up to $200 on an energy-efficient natural gas dryer. Show your home love with natural gas, and it loves you right back. To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
Great energy. I mean, that's what you're going to see. Whenever you talk to him, it's always good energy. He's young, energetic, and he's going to tell you how he feels, which I think is a great quality. I mean, him and I have hit it off, really well, and the staff he's brought together, great energy, young guys, and some of the cool stuff, the camaraderie, I think, stuff that we're going to do of getting together for some dinners, at the Combine, and some of those things. That's really what's going to bring the staff together. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take bringing all this staff together from different places, getting them ready to go. The player's going to show up in no time at all. So we got to get all on the same page.
Heath Farwell, the Jaguars special teams coordinator, a holdover from last year. Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour at the Hyundai Studios of the Miller Electric Center. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman on 1010XL, Jaguars.com, and Jaguars YouTube. Farwell, 43 years of age, and that's a little bit, about a half year higher than the mean of the average age of the coaching staff.
Call him an old man, JP.
I'm just saying. But Farwell's been around here since 2022. He'll stay on, as will his assistant, Luke Thompson. So the special teams groups was one bright spot for this Jaguars team last season.
By far. And good decision to keep both Heath and Luke on board. Look, special teams I thought was a real bright spot for this football team. Pro Bowl punter, Pro Bowl long snapper, and you have a Pro Bowl caliber rookie kicker. Mm-hmm. And if you watch the way that your rookie kicker handled all of the moments this year, highly impressed. And that, I think, also is due to getting great coaching. Consistent. The return game needs to be a little bit better, but I think some of that has to do with a little personnel. I'm excited that they kept both of those guys on because when you got good coaches, don't let them walk away.
Their coverage groups are always pretty consistently solid, right? I mean, never really let anything big break loose on them.
No, and very consistent. And I think that's not easy with special teams, week in and week out, because a lot of times injuries change. A lot of people don't think about this, but when, with the Jaguars and the amount of injuries that they've had, when you have injuries to starters, that impacts special teams across the board, because now you got a backup going in to play defense. A lot of times you got to find a replacement to run on special teams. In some cases, the guy just basically gets extra reps. But I think they've done a great job of managing the special teams and managing the roster. And I've never had a player say a bad thing about the special teams coaches here with Heath and Luke Thompson. Highly respected coaches.
He said today, there's kind of that window right after the season where, okay, am I staying and am I going? They haven't hired a coach yet.
Sure.
But he said today, hey, the Cons,
you got a family.
Hey, we want you around, and the idea is that we're going to have you back around here. And then it worked out that way. Once Liam Cohen was hired as the head coach, the next day, they announced that Farwell was extended.
Yeah, and look, I'm sure there was a lot of anxiety there because, when you're a coach, and you get a new head coach coming in and you're under contract, you don't know until you get the word that you're coming back. And, you got family and kids that are always involved, and that's not easy to deal with. Unfortunately, that's the one drawback to coaching. I think that's sometimes tough to be able to handle. But credit Liam Cohen for keeping a good football coach and not just going, hey, I just want to clean everybody out, just to clean everybody out. because a lot of times if you do that, you end up missing out on keeping a really good coach.
It's one less thing to worry about.
Yeah, and look, how they managed the Logan Cook has gotten better. I mean, has he not? I mean, Logan Cook, we've known for a number of years that we thought that he was a Pro Bowl caliber punter. He's had his best years under Heath and Luke, and so credit to him. And heck, you get a young rookie kicker to come in, and I think the one thing it's hard to do is when you have a rookie kicker is trusting him, and empowering him and keeping him confident. Did you ever think for a minute that there was ever a situation there was any type of wavering about sending the rookie kicker out there?
He's cold as ice.
Not one time.
No, nothing fazed him.
No hesitation whatsoever. And I think a lot of that is allowing the player to thrive and to grow and to groom him along the way, and coaching is a big part of that.
So congratulations to the special teams coaches. Farwell and Thompson are back on the Jaguars staff moving ahead. Some of the other assistants we haven't gotten to. We talked and heard about the coordinators here, but on the offensive side, football, we heard from Udinski today, the offensive coordinator. And you mentioned those coaches around the quarterback. There's a lot of them. Spencer Whipple will be the quarterback's coach. Shane Waldron will be the pass game coordinator. Waldron was in Chicago. Whipple was in Arizona the last few years. Edgar Bennett is back in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Wide receivers coach now for the Jaguars. Yep. Sean Serrett, the O-line coach, was a teammate of Cohen's back in college at UMass.
We met him just long ago.
A little earlier today. Yeah. Chad Morton's the running backs coach. Richard Angulo sticks around as the tight ends coach.
Another coach that's done a great job and was kept from the previous staff. Just one other thing I wanted to mention here, because I thought it was there was a moment there when Heath was talking about how they had these design dinners and everything to kind of hit the ground running, to get to know each other, to get on the same page as the staff. Mm-hmm. When's the last time you heard anything like that?
Yeah.
Did you ever hear of anything like that?
No. I don't know.
I didn't. And I mean, that's good. I mean, part of forming a staff and being a cohesive unit as a staff is getting to know the people that you're working with, and to be able to spend time together to meld together as quickly as possible. I mean, that's part of it. I mean, JP, we do similar type things. We go out and we have a lunch or we have a dinner, because we work together. And I didn't hear of previous staffs doing that. It's kind of odd.
I mean, usually you'll get the bill. Sometimes.
I'm just saying,
not
JP,
all the time. I mean, you want to be a good teammate. Pick up the bill. Now we're talking.
Well, I think it's a great thing that what Heath mentioned there, and it kind of went. At first, when I heard that, I'm like, that's interesting to me, because I've never heard that mentioned with the previous staffs.
Hey, you got to remember too, they're a little late in the game. I mean, it's February 13th, and they're just in here for about a week.
Look, you got plenty of time.
But
plenty of time.
Free agency's coming up in a month. The combine's next week. So you got to figure out all that in the next month, and then you're going into the draft.
And by the way, you got to find a general manager.
Yeah, right. And that's on the plate too, right? So, and whatever he decides after the draft to do is staff and scouting,
and you do have an interim general manager right now. So, I mean, I think some of that stuff is still moving ahead, and but I think with the whole general manager thing, you want to get that done as fast as possible.
And by the way, the players show up 2 weeks earlier now because the new coaching staff, April 7th, the off-season program begins.
Correct.
So you better have some things in place before they show
up.
Oh,
they'll have it in place. They'll be ready to go.
But you still got to go through the meetings and the process to do it. It takes work. Even at the combine, I bet they're not going to waste many hours when they're not doing player interviews, just going and hanging out and having a cold Bud Light at the bar.
Bud Light?
Well,
I'm not a big fan of Bud Light.
But they, I think that there's going to be not much time wasted.
I'm not a big beer guy, JP.
No,
not a big beer guy. Sometimes, yeah, but
okay. My point is, there's going to be a lot of work getting done in Indy.
There's nothing wrong with working and having a cold beer, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's kind of like having dinner. Hey, let's get a little work done here and let's have a beer. Don't get crazy or anything. You don't have any issues popping up,
right?
You don't want to make Pro Football Talk headline or anything like that for the wrong reasons.
Correct.
Okay. But no, I love the camaraderie, and there is a lot of work to be done. And how many general manager interviews have they done so far?
I think it's about 10.
4, 5, 6.
No, it's a long list of guys.
Yeah.
I could see this wrapping up next week. I mean, they could move through this thing fairly quickly in the coming days.
Yeah, you hope. And then then I think also once you get the new general manager, then you go through the draft process, and then you have tweaks to the personnel department. Everybody that's going to be underneath the general manager. And look, let me say this: the interim general manager,
Ethan Waugh.
Waugh, which, by the way, I've got a high level of respect for him. I think he's very good, and he's in the mix, and very, very talented. And a lot of people have a high level of respect for Ethan Waugh. So, the Jaguars are in good hands right now, but you want to make sure that everybody is, in the same direction once the decision is made. But for the time being, Ethan Waugh is a very good person for the job.
Let's come back. We will wrap things up in our first show back after the hiatus of the offseason. We're back, baby.
And here's the thing that I hope, JP, the most.
Yes.
That this team is back. I'm talking back in the conversation of being a team that is consistently competing for division titles and Super Bowls. That's what this team needs to get back to.
We'll return in just a moment. It is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dream Finders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dream Finders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dream Finders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamFindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game. The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Can you imagine rising for work before the crack of dawn? Tending to hundreds of acres of land before dusk? Well, that's what happens on 47,000 Florida farms every day. Florida's farmers work hard to grow nutritious food for you and your family. And you can help support them by enjoying delicious Fresh from Florida produce. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo where you shop or visit freshfromflorida.com to learn more.
For 48 straight years, Ford F-Series have been the best-selling trucks in America. We got here by engineering breakthrough technology, redefining Built Ford Tough, and never settling for second best. But what's really made Ford F-Series the #1 selling trucks in America is you. Ford F-Series, Built Ford Tough. Based on 1977 to 2024 calendar year total sales.
Sims Crane and Equipment is the Southeast premier crane rental company since 1959. Serving Florida, Georgia, and Alabama with cranes up to 800 ton for all of your heavy lifting needs. Sims Crane is the Tadano rough terrain crane dealer for the state of Florida. Inspired by the past, committed to the future. Choose Sims Crane and Equipment for all of your heavy lifting needs. Sims Crane is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
When disaster strikes, trust the experts at Surf Pro. As a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they bring the same dedication and precision to restoring your property as the Jaguars do on the field. Whether it's water, fire, or storm damage, their highly trained professionals are on call 24/7 to make it like it never even happened. Surf Pro, your local leader in restoration and cleanup. Welcome back. It is Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Dreamfinders Homes. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. We're at the Hyundai Studios, 1010XL, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube from inside the Miller Electric Center. Times have changed around here. And Jaguars Happy Hour is presented by Dreamfinders Homes, official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Logs, get ready. I want you to get ready for this.
What do you got?
Schedule at Daly's Place coming up.
I got a little. I heard because I watched Drive Time with you and John and
Sexton.
Sexton. So thank you.
Jags AM.
Jags AM. So thank you.
What'd you call it?
Drive Time.
Yeah, it used to be called that.
Okay. Jags AM. I watched it. You guys did a great job, by the way. And I had heard you threw the lineup out. I'm like, what? Pretty good.
Here we go. Rod Stewart on the 25th. That's about 12 days away.
How old is Rod Stewart?
I'll say 80.
What's your favorite
What do you think?
Rod Stewart song? Maggie Man?
Hot Legs, man.
Hot Legs?
Come on.
Yeah,
Of course.
All right.
Rod Stewart is born in 1945, so he is 80 years old. Right?
I'll be darned. Still rocking it.
The Coral Reefer Band, March 15th. That's Jimmy Buffett's backing band.
Okay.
Buffett passed away, of course, recently.
That's right.
Teddy Swims coming up May 10th. That'll be a good one.
Uh-huh.
Styx and Kevin Cronin and Don Felder, all on June 2nd.
Styx was my era. Those guys ain't young either.
No. Avril Lavigne on June 23rd. Slightly Stupid, June 26th.
My son loves Slightly Stupid. And they got a couple really good songs that I like.
There's a Kids Bop show in late June as well. And then July 29th, Shania Twain.
Ooh.
Big time.
That's a big time show right there.
I'd go check that out.
Yeah, no, I think she's great.
Absolutely.
She's very pretty.
Yeah,
great
very.
voice.
Yes.
And from what I heard, puts on a great show.
She's Canadian. You know that?
I did not know that.
Yes.
Huh.
I think she's from like Calgary or something, which is like a country music. Oddly enough, a country music and rodeo hotbed.
You know, it's kind of funny. You know what? I didn't know this. So me and the wife, we had taken a vacation trip, and we were down in the Caribbean on an island called St. Lucia.
I've heard of it.
Do you know what the most popular music in St. Lucia is? It's country music.
Really? Yeah.
How does that happen?
Doesn't she own an island down there too? I think she does.
Who?
Shania.
Shania owns an island?
I think
owns an island?
I think she literally
Come
does.
on.
Come on. I'll look this up.
For real?
Yeah. I'm not making that up.
But we had one night at the restaurant we were at, they had this guy that was singing all of these popular country music hits, and I was like, get out of town. I mean, you kind of expect to go to maybe like an island like that, and they're reggae or stuff like that. But it was country music. And one of the guys that we talked to on the island said that years ago they were exposed to country music, and it just stuck. It was awesome. I was, I don't want to say shocked, but I was wildly entertained by and this guy that we heard singing that night. He had a little. What do they have? That little box thing that they can play, and then they're singing along with the other music. He was crushing it. It was awesome. And I didn't have a whole lot of drinks, JP.
Not yet,
so it wasn't like I was, feeling really good and going, man, you're awesome.
Freebird.
No.
Play Freebird.
No. He was great.
Tickets at dailysplace.com for tickets and show information, all the whole schedule there as well coming up. So, all right, GM interviews are winding down, it feels like, and then 2 weeks away from the Combine. That's what's next on the docket for the Jaguars
When's the
organization.
official dates of the Combine?
So we're traveling to cover on Monday the
next
24th. Then we'll be on Radio Row
No, that's
Tuesday,
the week after.
last week in February.
Yeah,
and then
Monday.
the testing
2 Mondays from
begins,
now.
I believe, like Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
So all the media stuff is usually wrapped up through Thursday. Fridays, everybody's get out of there.
Out.
And then, because usually coaches and GMs are Tuesday and Wednesday at the podium. And then all of a sudden the prospects come in by position a couple days before they test. So that whole scene has blown up, certainly over the last decade. But it's a scene now, and it's in the convention center across the street from the stadium. There'll be over 1,000 credentialed media for this.
Wow.
As always. And we'll be right there in the middle of it.
It's become must-see TV. Literally, years ago, it was just like a medical check, and there was nobody there. There was no press for the most part. And now it's a big deal. It's become another media attraction. How everybody, what's their 40 times are, how many times they bench press, how they test. And the other place that is, it's kind of like a job fair of sorts, because there's a lot of people that are there that are trying to make connections with that may need a job or are looking for potential opportunities.
Well, like everybody in the entire NFL is in Indianapolis that week at one point or another. Coaches,
and by the way, Indianapolis
scouts.
is arguably the best city in the U.S. for something like
They've
this.
got to not move that. They can't move that.
Well, they've talked about it, but JP, centrally located.
It's perfect.
It's a convention center that's comparable maybe to one or two other markets in the U.S.
The hospital's right downtown that does all the medical stuff.
And the most important thing is to save on travel and for everybody to have the ease of getting there. And the location of Indianapolis, is awesome. Just like FedEx is in Tennessee, based out of
Memphis.
Memphis, not Nashville.
You
but
saw
Memphis.
Castaway, right? You've seen that movie?
Yes. Yeah. And so, being centrally located, it makes it convenient to get all of the prospects in, however many there are, a little over 1,000, I think, right?
No, it'll be like 300 prospects.
Is it? Okay, I didn't know.
Like three and change, yeah.
Yeah, I heard Deion Sanders' one son did not get invited.
Which one, Shiloh?
Shiloh, yeah. I heard he did not get an invite to the combine.
Sure, we'll hear about
Wonder
that.
if Deion's going to have something to say about that.
Probably he has something to say about most everything. That's for sure.
Oh.
But it'll be a first combine for Liam Cohen as the head coach. The new GM will be there as well. Baselli, the whole thing.
You would expect, right?
Yeah.
You would expect all of that to be in place and for them to be kind of banding together, working together, because everything is going to be new from the structure standpoint. But, coach, general manager, EVP, they've all got their hands full as far as getting everything going in the right direction.
We're going to have another one of these shows next Thursday. You and I will be doing it again. And hopefully we'll be talking about a GM by then.
Well, I hope so, and hopefully by then we've had an opportunity to meet even more coaches. We met some of them today.
Full disclosure, we're obviously in the Miller Electric Center, down a hallway from where the coaching and the personnel offices are. It's a little bit away. But the photo room is right across the hallway from us.
Well, when you say the photo room, it's a room where the coaches are getting their headshots taken.
Right.
So they don a Jaguar shirt, because all the pictures that you've seen up until now are photoshopped to have Jaguar jerseys on them.
Correct.
So now they're taking actual pictures of them with Jaguar logoed apparel.
So we had the door open to the studio. These guys are like right across the hall, popping their head in. It was pretty cool. Yeah, it was good to see a lot of those guys.
Got to meet some of them.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that.
And hopefully as the offseason progresses, we might maybe have one on occasionally here.
That would be great.
On the program.
Yeah, talk some ball.
Talk some ball.
Talk some ball. Talk some philosophy on football, so where they've been. Get to know some of these coaches. I think that would be a great thing.
A lot of UMass connections.
That's okay.
The Minutemen.
I think and a lot of people, some people may look at that and say, he's just hiring his, look, when you're putting together a staff, I think as a head coach, you want to have people that that you can trust and that you have had a good working relationship with before. And the more experience that you have with somebody that you put on your staff, the faster that you can be together going forward as one. And so I think that's very wise. I remember talking to a head coach years ago, and I'll keep him unnamed, but he actually talked about.
Why?
Well, because
we
he made
name names on this show.
Hold
what
on.
are you talking about?
I'll explain
Unnamed.
why. He actually. Well, the reason I'm going to keep him nameless is because he made some comments. He said, I asked him. I said, what happened? When you had your opportunity to be a head coach. He goes, the first mistake I made was trusting somebody that I didn't know. And I don't need to reveal who it was, but he said that that cost him dearly. He said, I was thinking that it would be very beneficial by getting this person that might have had some more experience when I had a guy that I knew that I trusted that didn't have the experience, but I didn't hire him, and I trusted a guy that in the end I shouldn't have trusted. And so having people around you that you trust, that you know, I think is imperative, and I think that's good. That's good. It's a good, smart move by Liam Cohen.
Is this a former Jaguars coach?
I will not say.
Why not? Come on, Logs.
JP, I've been around the league for a long time. No coaches here. I've known coaches elsewhere.
So I'm asking.
And by the way, a couple things I wanted to mention this week. One, on a sad note, the passing of Dick Duran, who was the former defensive coordinator of the Jaguars in the early years. He's one of the finest men I've ever known. Stand-up guy. Literally, if you ever want to write a biography as far as how upstanding of a person that Dick Duran was, I mean, he is the class of the class. The other thing, too, is that they're in this coaching cycle, very excited for Pete Carroll, who was my former coach when I was in New York. And I'm excited that he's got another opportunity at the age of 73. Because I don't think there's anybody in this business that literally has more energy than Pete. And I'm happy for him. And he's got his hands full.
Yeah, you think?
At building that program in Vegas, that's for sure. But if there's anybody that can do it in a positive, energy-filled way, I think Pete Carroll was a good choice there.
Pack of Gum hates to see him coming. That's for sure.
But Dick Duran, that was a great staff. We had Dick Duran.
He was the first defensive coordinator in Jaguars history, right?
Defensive coordinator.
Yes.
John Pease was the defensive line coach, and Dick Duran worked very closely with the secondary. Fine coach, fine man, also former head coach of Buffalo and in Chicago, just a fine man.
He's 74 years of age.
Too young.
Yeah,
too young.
Sad.
Big fan of his, man. Big fan of his, and never was a time that when you didn't see him after he went on to become a head coach elsewhere, there never was a moment that he didn't take the time to come and say hi and how are you doing? How's the family? How's your life? You good? Do you need anything? One of those guys that truly cared about the player as a person more than he cared about the player as a player, as a performer. And I think that really rang true with a lot of guys.
Last coached in the league in 2012 as the defensive coordinator over the Browns, but after the Jags in 98 was his last year here. Was the Bears head coach from 99 to 03. Then the Lions defensive coordinator 04, 05, interim head coach in 05. Went to the Bills as the head coach 6, 7, 8, 9. Eagles as a senior assistant in 2010, and then the Browns for a couple of years before his career ended.
Yeah, good man.
All over the league.
Yeah, good man.
What do you got coming up? What do we got? Let's see. Jaguars business we've all talked about.
The one thing that starts for me at this time of year now, JP, is now that the Super Bowl is over, you turn to the draft a little bit. And for me, it's watching some of the top quarterback prospects, even though the Jaguars are not directly interested in that position when you have $250 million invested in Trevor Lawrence.
You looked at Twitter today, that some might argue.
Yeah, I mean, what was that all about?
It was silly. It was stupid.
So, and obviously with the Jaguars picking 5th overall, the quarterback position will impact what's available to the Jaguars at number 5 in a big way. So when I start watching film, I watch the quarterbacks first. You want to watch all the top, players at that position. Anybody that could be a potential first-round pick is worth watching, and then we'll work on the other positions after that.
Sounds like a plan. We'll catch up with you again next week, Logs. Thanks.
You got it.
Jeff Lageman, JP Shadrick. Thanks to Joe Fortunato, Brent Reber, our entire crew. This is Jaguars Happy Hour.